Seven. Now, Seven, guys, is like a 1995 detective noir film starring Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. It's on my Netflix list, so why not? I like this movie a lot, guys. I admit I had a depressing feeling more than I expected after watching it. And I'll just explain why with two big things that I like about this movie, but had a certain effect on me. And then an extra third point just is just like food for thought after watching this movie. It's nothing to do with this movie specifically. Okay, so the two big things that I like about this movie, I like the tone, and I like the dynamic between the two main characters who are detectives, Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. So first thing, tone. Whether it was like dimly lit corridors or just the murders in and of itself and other crimes committed in this movie, there were various things that just kind of gave me that itchy feeling watching this movie, and it reminded me a little bit of certain recent movies that I've watched, but in a different way, like a Children of Men. If anyone's seen that movie, um, what else have I watched recently? Flip, forget. But this film, Seven, everything felt like grimy. Like, no, there's no hope in this world. This is like Gotham City without Batman. Basically, like this world is depressing as heck. No wonder these crimes are happening. It doesn't necessarily justify the things going on in this world with certain characters, but it does give you that insight, in my opinion, to the kind of environment where things like this would happen. So it makes you feel like this world in and of itself is the enemy, as opposed to certain criminals, certain people who the main characters are trying to catch. That had a that had a strong effect on me, but it was a depressing one. I admit, the more I think about it, more than I expected. That's one thing I like about the movie. Second thing, the dynamic between the two main characters who are detectives, Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman's character. Now, I like these characters because I feel like they had certain philosophies, understandable ones too, because of their performance. It felt organic, but at the same time, again, bringing back to me having a more depressing feeling more than I expected. I feel like I would have liked it, for example, if they were closer in age to each other, the two detectives, because it made it feel like one character was more cynical in life, one character um, felt like they were doing things for the right reasons, and it almost felt like their roles were predestined by the end of the movie to end up how they were, and that made me feel some type of way. That I don't know if people realize that's maybe not the best kind of storytelling that they think it is. Probably there's a lot of people watching this movie or who have watched this movie who think that that's good because it's edgy. It's not like real life. Real life is always fairy tales and all this stuff. But sometimes you need, in my opinion, something um something that's a more of a better mix, in my opinion, of hopeful versus like skeptical. I felt like there wasn't a strict enough mix. There wasn't enough of a mix of those two things with the two main characters, and it had a effect on me, which made me think, oh, you know what? That seems too typical. That just because this person is more positive, their life goes so and so way. Just because this person is more negative, their life goes this way. I I did like those two characters. I just didn't like where they ended up, in my opinion, by the end of this film. I wish things went differently, and it didn't feel like the writing was being nuanced enough, in my opinion. But maybe that's the point in the movie, that it's all about hopelessness. Again, like the tone I mentioned earlier. And those are my two big things that I like about this movie. Now, the third point that I have is essentially about the importance of world building. And that's what this movie came down to, um, in terms of like issues that I have with it. The more I think about it, I feel like this movie would have had a more better effect on me if there was more of a graphic novel vibe to it. So I compare it to something, the original Blade Runner movies, or Blade Runner movie. The original Blade Runner movie is a noir. It's dark. It has this message about what it truly means to be human, about the nature of like self. Can you really be have self worth in this world? I love that movie, and I think that movie wouldn't be as effective if it felt more real world, which made me realize watching this film, comparing it to Seven. I think the reason why this movie didn't have the positive effects that I wanted it to is because it felt so real world. It reminded me that the real world is complicated and a lot of hope. There's a lot of despair, especially in the past year. And coming to terms, for example, with my own mortality, thinking about loved ones that have gone. My granddad died nearly this time last year. It'll be a year since he died, by next month. Certain family friends from COVID and the effects that's had, for example, on my mum, made me realize, you know what? I think I need something that's more removed from my world in order to understand certain things, certain dark concepts, certain serious concepts. Compared to this movie that felt very real world, but clearly it wasn't suited for someone like me in terms of the effectiveness of it. So it didn't hit me like I wanted it to, because it just felt, I don't know, it felt too depressing in its execution. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Guys, you tell me your thoughts down below. Did you like this movie? If you've seen it already, if you haven't seen it, would you see it now? Press that thumbs up button if it helps the algorithm. Share this video. And lastly, subscribe. Button's right there. Do it. Don't be shy. Stop pressing. See more videos like this. Other than that, signing off. Salute.